Hey guys. So, this is my first time recording my voice for YouTube, and I've been trying to well, it's not the first time I've been recording my voice, but it's the first time that I'm gonna put it on a YouTube video. I've been trying to do this for the past 2 weeks or so, on and off, just recording like hours and hours, and I reached the point where I'm tired of trying to make it perfect, and I'm just gonna put whatever this is up. So, mistakes and all. Because I spent too much time just thinking, oh, I'll cut things off and put them back together into a nice mistake-free recording. But yeah, it's not working. So whatever happens here is whatever is gonna happen, and the noises in the house are gonna be picked up, and and I'm gonna make a whole bunch of mistakes. But you know what? I have to do it. Well, I don't have to do it, but I feel like I have to do it because I want to put some information into the video, but I get the sense that people don't want to read. Like, you come to YouTube so that you can watch and listen. So this is what I'm gonna do. So this drawing ended up taking about 5.5 hours, including the Lightroom editing at the end, just to make it look better for the internet. I've actually drawn something like this before, back in high school, so about 10 or so years ago. I basically had been learning how to shade, and this was kind of like a way to test the shading skills and like put them together into some sort of artwork. And since I haven't really been drawing since high school, like I got busy with college and then with working, I hadn't really kept up my shading skills. So by doing this, I'm sort of practicing how to shade again so that I can, feel better with my hand and so forth. So when I was drawing this, it was sort of a cloudy day, and that's why it got really dark. And I'm using a lamp, and I'm in front of the window, and it looks like the sunlight was what I was relying on the most, because now the video looks really dark. But I didn't want the sunlight to stop my practice, so I just kept going. So you can see it gets dark and light as the clouds move. Another thing I had to worry about in this painting, or in this drawing, was to try to make I had to put the lights to the side, because when you draw with pencil, if you draw really hard, it makes like a shininess to it. And I made that mistake a long time ago where I tried to draw something and the light source was directly behind the camera, and so you couldn't even, like, the darkest spots that were supposed to be black ended up being white because they were reflecting the light. So I had to put the light sources to the side. And I couldn't just put them, to the, from the camera's perspective, I couldn't put them above, like up. From what you're looking at now, I couldn't put the light source up. I had to, because otherwise I wouldn't be able to see the thing that I'm drawing myself. So I have to worry about two different sources of vision, the camera's and my own. So while I said it took about 5.5 hours to draw this total, But I didn't do it all in one go. I actually split it up into about 4 days of drawing, with some days in between as sort of a break. If you saw one of my other videos about the hummingbird, there was a snow day, and I live in a desert, so it's really weird to have snow, and as much snow as we got. So during that time, I was basically out taking pictures and stuff, just paying attention to the snow. So the plastic that I have, the clear plastic, I'm using that so that I don't smudge the graphite that I'm using. So if I wasn't using that, there would be like smudge marks all over the white spaces, because my hand would be rubbing against the graphite and then rubbing against the paper, and I'm basically putting marks that I don't want down. Okay, so I was just listening to my recording, and I wanted to clarify that I'm using a .7 lead pencil, mechanical pencil. Well, that's not really lead, but that's what they call it. And so when I say graphite, I'm not using anything special. It's just like a normal mechanical pencil, like you just buy it at the store, like a normal pencil. Okay, that's it. So at this point in the drawing, you might be able to tell, but I didn't want to have to turn the page as much, like go in circles, because I know that when I speed it up in a video, it becomes sort of disorienting to have the art piece move all over the place while I'm drawing. So I tried to just keep the paper in one space and do whatever I could do while the paper was in that orientation. I definitely feel like my skills improved as I drew. Um, like I feel like I was doing each circle a lot faster than normal, or faster than what I did when I originally started. Also, at some point I put a second lamp, so you can probably see the shine marks on the top left and the top right corners now. Um, so I added another lamp because it was continuously cloudy and I didn't feel like waiting until the daylight um, to draw. So I just added another light. So I know that some people can make smudging, like that technique of shading. They can use smudging to smooth it out. They can make that look really well, but I never felt like it looked good to me, like the way that I did it, or like maybe I just don't know the way to do it, or I just don't really. It seems like I have less control when I'm smudging. So I don't really like to do smudging. I just like to um, get what I want using the pressure of the pencil. So you push harder for darker, and you push lighter for lighter. I also put a lot of pieces of paper underneath the paper that I'm drawing on, and that's because the wood desk that I'm drawing on top of has like a bumpy surface. So having a bunch of pieces of paper in between my drawing and the wood ends up smoothing that out. Although I'm not entirely sure if it smoothed it out as well as I wanted, or if maybe I just wasn't as used to drawing, because the circles don't end up looking as circular as I want. They seem kind of bumpy. So I don't know if that's because I didn't have enough paper underneath, or maybe I need to actually put it on a flat surface instead of the wood. Or I just am not used to drawing still. So after 5.5 hours of drawing this, I kind of get the sense that pencil takes a long, long time, and that was completely fine for me when I was in high school because the whole purpose of drawing at the time was to take up time. I was in school and I finished my work, and there was nothing to do, so I just started drawing. So it was just to keep me busy. Um, but now I feel like I need to like control my time a little more because there's only so much. Um, so yeah, it just seems like a lot of time for something that most people don't know how much time is put into something like this. So basically, it just got me started. Basically, it got me to thinking that maybe I want to try to do painting instead, and like because it's just easier on the hands. Well, yeah, that's the other thing is that when I try to draw with a pencil, my hand gets really tired, and that's why I have to take breaks all the time because you have to like push really hard with the pencil, so it's not too great on the joints, and my hand gets really stiff. But with painting, you kind of just have to touch the paper instead of like push on the paper. So that's another reason why I was thinking I should try to do painting at some point. So that didn't turn out as bad as I thought it would. Um, so, tips for anybody who's interested in gaining the confidence to record your voice. Um, it looks like the one thing that was keeping me from recording super well was that I had my headphones plugged into the recorder, and so it would play my voice back to me as I'm talking. And somehow hearing that maybe just throws it off and makes it seem like I'm more focused on listening to myself than I am on talking, and by listening to myself, I end up feeling really self-conscious, and any mistake I make, I freak out, and then the whole thing just seems silly, and then I stop recording myself. So this time I didn't have anything plugged in, and I'm just kind of talking and hoping it turns out okay. And that seems to be a lot better. Um, Although my voice is still kind of like scratchy and nervous, but maybe that will get easier with practice. So And now I'm just adding the finishing touches, making sure everything looks the way I want it to look. Getting all the, making sure that the shading is smooth and the lines are crisp. Okay, so now I've finished the painting, and I need to take I took a picture, and I had to flatten out the image somehow, because by pushing so hard on the paper, it kind of makes the paper bend a little bit, so the edges fray up a little. So I had to make I took like an old frame that I had and took the glass out and then cleaned it off as much as I could, and then I placed the glass onto the drawing so that it would flatten it out. And there were a few problems that I had with that thing too, where glass is really sharp, so be careful when you're handling glass like that, because I actually cut my finger a little bit from that, and so in future videos you'll see me wearing a band-aid. And then the other thing is that glass is reflective somewhat, so even though you can see through it, it will also reflect anything bright that you have above the picture. Like, for instance, the tripod. My tripod was like a shiny chrome sort of color, and so I had to make some black cloth to like wrap around that to make it dark so that it wouldn't show up when I took the picture. And then so I cut off the edges to make the image only show what I want and not like the table and stuff. And then I brightened up the whites and darkened the darks, and since there were 2 light sources, and well, 3 light sources if you include the window and the sun, I had to put like these gradients on certain parts of the video. So if you saw the circle that I was making, that was for each of the shine marks that the lamps left, because it was brighter in the corners, the top 2 corners of the picture, than it was in the bottom. So I had to make that a little bit darker than the rest of the image. So it was kind of difficult, since I want the white to actually look white and not like a gray color. I don't think that it looks very good when you have a drawing that has like a dull gray color for the spots that are supposed to be white. But by making it white, it sort of removed a little bit of the detail that I did in the lighter sections of the drawing. But I think it looks okay. Yeah, so I guess that's it for that, and I hope you enjoyed. And I'm sorry that my voice sounds monotone or dull or scratchy. I just needed to just put it out, even with all the mistakes, and hopefully that is enough. And hopefully next time I will do better. So thanks for watching. And, all that YouTube stuff of like, please subscribe and share and like the video. And what else am I supposed to say? Comment. Comment something. Comment what you like about this. And if any of my tips helped you. And also I have a Patreon page that no one has been following, even though I've been keeping it up. But, if you're interested, I have a Patreon and would love any and all support on there. And if you donate, or whatever the term is, if you give me $1 a month, then you get to put your name is going to show up in this general section of the YouTube video as a thank you. And there's other, rewards and stuff that I'm going to provide later. And yeah, so I hope that that is something that you're interested in. Yeah. Okay, that's it. Goodbye.